Eighth Grade is an A24 film and is written and directed by Bo Burnham. For those who might not know who Bo Burnham is, to me, he's a pretty funny comedian, singer-songwriter. I haven't really seen any of his material in like 6 years. The last time that I decided to check out some shit of his has been like 6 or 7 years ago. But I do remember him being pretty funny. And I thought it was really interesting that he decided to go into filmmaking. Didn't really see that coming. And this is of course, his directorial debut. And it was getting a lot of buzz out of Sundance, lots of praise. There's many critics that I've seen on YouTube saying that this is one of the best films of the year. And walking out of Eighth Grade, I think it's a pretty damn good movie, and I can definitely see why people are saying that. In my opinion, it is one of the best films of the year. It probably won't be in my top 5, but it'll certainly be in my top 10 of the year. There was quite a bit of aspects about this film that really impressed me. This is an A24 film, so that really didn't surprise me all that much because A24 is my favorite film studio currently. And it's just because they've been pumping out a lot of these really unique and creative products, and Eighth Grade is definitely part of that. First off, this is a coming-of-age story, and that was one of my concerns going into this movie because when I saw the trailer, I thought it looked like it would be decent, but just the subject itself I just felt like we've seen a lot of these movies already. By default, it's not going to be the most super original. There's going to be certain things in this movie that you probably are familiar with and seen in other coming-of-age films. But this film is surprisingly fresh and surprisingly creative with the subject. Its approach to its story is pretty unconventional. When I was watching this film, I didn't really recognize there to be a first, second, and third act like most films have. There probably is a first, second, and third act in this movie, but it's not in the conventional way, not even in the slightest. The narrative follows our main character named Kayla, who's played by Elsie Fisher, and damn, Elsie Fisher was really impressive in this movie. There wasn't really a second in this film that I thought that this actress was playing a character. I fully bought her role. And again, that also has to give thanks to Bo Burnham as well, especially for his first film ever. He directed this film well, and he also directed her acting very well. There's a lot of different things that Burnham wanted her to do a certain way in order to convey certain themes about social anxiety, not being able to fit in, as a lot of people who go in through middle school and high school deal with. What I was trying to say is that the narrative follows her main character, and the way that this film's narrative is very unconventional is that it just kind of follows her in the last week of 8th grade. And you're just kind of on this journey with her as certain events happen. And it's not like it builds up to like some sort of climax, but it just kind of gives you a glimpse. I think the whole purpose of this film is just kind of give you a glimpse of her life. And as you follow her, there's just certain things that happen in the first, second, and third act that are pretty significant. And it all takes place like in the now. Like everything about this film is in the now. Like this is probably the most nowest movie that I've ever seen. This film just does an excellent job at capturing those really intensely awkward middle school moments. And it's like as I was watching it, I was just like, this is captured really well. But God, I don't want to remember that shit again. Seriously, it does a great job at taking you back to those times where you just felt like a complete embarrassment and failure just because of certain social situations that just have you cringing. And to me, it also does a brilliant job at conveying the feelings and emotions of somebody who does suffer from a pretty intense degree of social anxiety. And again, almost everybody has some sort of level of social anxiety. So for me, it's very relatable. But for somebody like her character that she plays in this movie, the social anxiety aspect is just so overwhelming. And you feel that overwhelming feeling throughout this entire movie just by the way it's directed and the way it's acted and the way it's written. That's why, again, like I have to give a lot of credit to Bo Burnham because this, again, it's his first fucking movie. Yet he just did a great job at conveying emotion and how the character feels on the inside just through its aesthetics and its direction. The score and soundtrack of this film, to me, is probably my favorite aspect of this film. It just fits so well with this style that he's going for. It's kind of like, again, it's new. Like the score sounds like something that's like really, really new, but at the same time, it sounds nostalgic, like something that you're familiar with. And just on top of that, again, the score does a really good job at capturing the inner feelings of our main character. It has a really cool synthwave sound that honestly reminded me a lot of Refn films. Like, of course, the way it's approached in Refn films is different, and it does sound a little different, but it does kind of sound similar, and it was really cool to see that. Especially, like I said, it gives so much substance and emotion to the scenes where the score is really hitting home. And on top of that, it just creates a really kind of euphoric and hypnotic atmosphere that really immerses you into this movie. The character dynamic between Kayla and her father, who is played by Josh Hamilton, I thought was very well done and well acted. He gives a monologue in the third act of the movie that I just thought was very touching and very heartwarming. And this movie is R-rated, which to me is a little weird. I get it, there's a lot of F-bombs in this and there's some sexual innuendo going on, but to me, like, if you ask me, I would actually recommend that middle schoolers go see this. Really, anybody who's, the age is 13, 14, maybe even 12, really, I would actually recommend that they go see this movie. I think they would find it very relatable, very helpful, very insightful, and incredibly funny. Oh, yeah, by the way, this movie is pretty damn funny. I would hope so, because it's written and directed by a comedian. And it is. This movie does have some pretty gut-busting moments in it. So overall, I found this film to be pretty satisfying. It didn't completely blow me away. And when I first left the theater, I definitely thought it was good, but I didn't think it was as good as everybody's saying it is. But the more I reflected on it and the more that I let it sit, the more I like it. And again, I'm still not blown away by it or anything. And I still don't really agree with some of the people that are calling this the best film of the year, or even like top 3 best films of the year, but it's still a very good film. So I'm going to give 8th Grade an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for hearing what I had to say about A24's most recent film, 8th Grade. By the way, guys, I am getting more active on Twitter, so if you guys would be so fucking awesome and kind to follow my Twitter page, you can find the link to my Twitter account in the description box below. And if you really like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the Misfit Pawn channel to be updated on more film-related content.